Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Expedition 33 has left me wanting to make this game my entire personality. Boy, this is some real nice classical fusion, and you know how I feel about that. Here we go. Yeah, really nice movement there. It's like a mix of art song and Edith Piaf. It's really quite good. There's a new melodic idea being presented in the violin. Obviously, this is the battle theme from the trailer. Nice ascending piano design. It's Victor Borba who sings Bury the Light. There's a subtle harmony in there. Yeah. Gross. Beautiful harmony there with the shadow element. Clair obscured, yeah. Highlighting that clair obscured title. It's so beautiful. One of the things that I find really interesting about this is that there's a raw purity in the soundscape that is really interesting and really fun and exciting. The singer, it's a little bit tight. There's a little bit of tension in the sound, and the way that the vibrato comes off is just a little bit. It's not necessarily clean, but that's not an inherent bad thing. Now, is it like true operatic singing? No, and in fact, I don't even think it needs to be. One of the really interesting things about this vocalism is that the tightness actually lends itself to the expression. You know, I think we get caught up, especially if we're in the classical music cycles, or, you know, if we're, you know, really thinking about technique at a granular level. I think it's really easy for us to get a bit uppity about certain approaches to technique. And while it's not necessarily perfect operatic singing, we really don't need to give a shit about that. And I guarantee that the vast majority of people don't. Now, not everybody has trauma like I do after a decade of doing it, where it's like, no, your vibrato's too fast, your vibrato's too slow, there's too much air in the sound, whatever. But like in the case of this sound quality is sort of this slightly untrained or slightly not operatic sound actually works in its advantage, and I want to break down why. But then also let's look at this whole melody line here. So obviously we start with this soundscape that's super like sci-fi amorphous, and then you get the piano, right? But then also it's really interesting because it's sort of like the voice comes in from out of nowhere. It reminds me a lot of pieces like Poulenc. French melody pieces. Melody is a type of song, art song. So I think of Poulenc, I think of Ravel, I think of Debussy Fauré. And what I really like about this is the melody line is super in line with those traditions of voice writing. And it's also similar to Edith Piaf and this sort of like 1920s turn of the century. No regrette rien, no, je ne regrette rien, non descenda de trop bras, da 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 bo da 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 la vie en rose. Right, so it's like super melodic. And French music tends to be very somber, dealing a lot with love. You know, the French are all about the love. They love love. You know, the French love to eat. They love their food. They love their culture. They love their music. And that is the sound quality that we get. It's fantastic. The last gig I did was in France, and I really fell in love with the French people. They're just such wonderful people, and so funny and very passionate and you know, it's anyway. So this reminds me of that. Actually, it gives me a real sense memory from when I was in France for about 9 weeks for my final gigs there in Limoges and also Massy. Shout out to those places. And so anyway, no one cares about the point is that this little section here, the way that the vocal starter is really cool. You hear how it has this like that's so nice. What is that doing? It's just cascading down. And when we cascade down like that, we have to base our interpretation on the notes that are provided, and that will indicate to a singer how to approach and sing this. And to me, it's I have lost so much, but I'm still positive because this music's not really sad per se, but it's kind of like, oh man, life is kind of hard, you know? And you get the strings supporting that. If you listen here, the strings don't really move. Yada. It's really the singer. And what I also really like about this, there's a little bit of a bleat in the end of the vocalism that I actually think is quite lovely. So it's this interesting blend between art song, musical theater, and opera, where typically, you know, an opera singer would go the vibrato would be continuous, but in this it's and then we're adding the vibrato after, and I love that. I think it's very innocent, and there's a sound quality of sort of youth and of naivete. It sounds less formalized. Also, something that should be really respected that I think most will gloss over is the melisma that's going on here. Melisma is all about vocal technique, where a singer moves between multiple notes while singing a single syllable of text. And it's not done a lot in modern music, unfortunately. It's almost like some composers have forgotten the importance of a melisma. So it's like instead of going I feel so good, it's I feel so good. That's a melisma. I feel so good. So I is not just on one note, it's on multiple notes. And she does this really beautifully and really smoothly. And also that is such a somber, so it's nice. And then the piano is really supporting underneath. The piano's starting to move quite a bit. It's the whole underneath of this, besides the singer, has been really locked in and really squarely sort of settled, which is nice because it lets the vocalist, which in this case I believe it's Alice Dupont-Percier and Victor Borba, it allows them to shine and allows them to be soloists rather than being a part of the orchestration or the instrumentation, which again, you hear that a lot in video games, and in this particular case it really does feel like one of these songs that you could put into a theater and say this is a vocal song, and the vocalist would be front and center and forward, you know. It's so beautiful. And then we have the shift because of the trailer. And this is really nice. It's just like introducing a new melodic idea in the violin. The violin now is a soloist. Piano's moving, and then here comes the singing. Isn't that so satisfying? I mean, that's just like, and this sounds very different than how I would sing it, and it's because Victor has such an amazing edge to his sound. That real like rock, heavy metal sound quality is so, in some ways, more expressive than opera, because opera is really like structured and formal and it's sort of in a box in a way, whereas like with Victor singing here, it's so like fluid, edgy. There's a little bit of an edge of like almost like it's grating a little bit, but it works. It's works so well, and it's so interesting and nice, and it really does provide an edge compared to Alice's singing, which brings a sense of tension and drama and intensity, especially when they sing together later on in the piece. It's just a nice, and then also the way that, again, we have this, that's a really good melody. And melody is just so important to like being interesting musically. And like you can write nice music, but if there's not like a melody that really clicks in, and I still haven't figured out like what makes a melody so good. A lot of it's based on interpretation or why something is an earworm or whatever. But this particular case, it's just like, you get the piano underneath, and then we have more singing. And there's a really nice harmony that's happening in here that's really subtle, with the forward momentum and the sort of, it's so nice. I mean, it's just like, that's so nice. I mean, there's just a little bit of dissonance in there that really works, and it does like leave us with a sense of question. It leaves us with a sense of mystery. It leaves us with a sense of like, whoa, clair obscur. What does that mean? I really like that. And I think like, the really important takeaway from this entire thing, and there's more of this obviously that I'd like to listen to. The thing to take away from this is that nothing is perfect and nothing needs to be perfect. And, is this singing like perfect when it comes to opera? No, there are some things that don't work about it. However, it fits the context so well, and the singing is so beautiful and in pitch and has beautiful movement and clear vocal control that makes it so much more exciting than if it was like a perfect technique. So it's weird because it sounds like I'm insulting, but I'm actually praising. Like this is really, really good. And everything fits where it's supposed to fit. Operatic singing wouldn't actually fit well in here, and it doesn't need to, because what's really cool about this is that we are borrowing from a style of singing and technique that is rooted in the populace. It's rooted not in perfect technique, but in like self-expression. And that's really what melody comes down to. I mean, yes, the melody singers, Pierre Boulez and others, baritones that had really, really clear, beautiful, pristine sounds and good vibrato and all this other stuff. But like after a while, that stuff tends to sound the same. There was a person I knew who, when they would sing, they were beautiful, but then they were so good that it actually got boring to listen to. And that's a huge trap. If something sounds really great, it gets a little bit redundant and repetitive, because you're like, okay, this is nice. And so what I really like about this particular song is the raw quality of it and how it makes us feel on edge, even though it's really poetic and really slow and really naive and really innocent. It's hard to find critique in something that is just so honest for what it is. It's really nice. I can't wait to listen to more of this, actually. And this game has literally taken over my subconscious. I want to play it right now, and I can't. And I also appreciate how the turn-based combat mixed with action combat really is just. It's nice, and it's going to be a really interesting change of pace, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it in action, and I'm excited about it. So if you like this sort of stuff, feel free to like, subscribe, check out the description if you want to support the channel, and as always, thanks a ton, and I'll see you later. Bye.